Even though Sonic and the Secret Rings is one of the most hit Sonic games nowadays, the game did sell well and got okay enough reviews. Yeah, not really much to say here compared to Secret Rings development, but that does mean I get to get into the video faster, so this wizard named Merlina, granddaughter to the wizard Merlin, gets chased down by the evil King Arthur. She gets desperate and uses a spell to call a great warrior to defend her. This warrior is of course Sonic the Hedgehog, who easily plows through the endless dark army. Right when Sonic's led to charge at King Arthur, Merlina teleports them to another location because Sonic would be able to beat him without the secret sword Caliburn, who, might add, also talks. From here, Sonic and Caliburn have to get all of his swords from the Knights of the Round Table to beat King Arthur. This is pretty much the basic plot for most of the game. Unlike Secret Rings that just use the Wii Remote, this game uses the Wii Remote and the Nunchuck. I still have the opinions that the controls of Secret Rings really aren't that bad, but I do think using the nunchuck makes it easier to get used to them. There's also Caliburn to account for. You have Sonic swing Caliburn by swinging the Wii Remote. The game actually isn't that picky about what motions you use. Even for a forward stab or upwards jump slash, you can just swing the Wii Remote. This also makes it so it doesn't really affect it that much whether you play this with or without a controller. Combat is somewhat of a big part of this game. If you ask various Sonic fans, we'll all give you different opinions on how combat should be handled in the Sonic series. Some will tell you it adds depth, some will tell you that it doesn't belong at all. In my opinion, this is probably my favorite way it's been handled in the series. Every enemy goes down in one hit, so you won't have to selfishly homing attack everything over and over again. Another complaint thrown frequently at Sonic combat systems that a lot of the times there's giant rooms of enemies in them. This game doesn't really have that issue. The reason why I think this combat works so well is because of the homing attack. Usually in Sonic games, the homing attack is the go-to option when attacking enemies. In this game, the homing attack doesn't deal damage, but instead acts as a way to sub into the spinning slash. The spinning slash can connect with a group of enemies, and that's how you do combos like this. To me, it's endlessly satisfying seeing Sonic mow down enemies like the houseflies. The other thing that makes Sonic feel powerful is the Soul Surge. When pressing the B button, Sonic would do a stance. When enemies are around Sonic, Sonic would quickly slash at them. The trick is you want to do it just as the reticles turn white. This is why it's called a perfect hit. The reason you want perfect hits is that it saves Soul Surge, it nets you extra points, and it deals more damage than just slashing normally. Also, the sound is incredibly satisfying. We don't have anything to lock onto Sonic Blast Off, but it doesn't come close to the likes of Kingdom Hearts or Devil May Cry. But in my opinion, this game is the best at blending high-speed action with combat. Now, this doesn't mean saying I want all Sonic games to have sword combat or focus on combat or anything. I'm just saying, for one game gimmick, it could've went way worse. Speaking of things that could go wrong with this game hardly has an in-depth title system. What you do in stages determines what title you'll get. The 5-star ranking system, from what I can tell, is mainly about how much combos you get, and the usual ring chains and also time. It's not super hard, but it is rewarding when you get 5 stars. The stars also help rank up the different styles. The default one is the Knight style. It's a balance between speed and offense. The Cavalier style trades power for speed. It even has skills that will speed you up but will subtract from your ring count. And finally, the Paladin style is more about raw strength at the cost of Sonic speed. It allows you to destroy giants in one hit and also destroys shields. While I wouldn't say it's as perfect as Sonic's campaign from Adventure 1, I do think the moment-to-moment gameplay is really enjoyable. This game boasts several more improvements to Secret Rings. Remember, one of my main complaints of Secret Rings was the missions. I think it was too hard to figure out where to go. And the missions themselves involved boring chores like smashing eggs or not breaking pots. While not all the missions are super fun to play, they never fall into the low Secret Rings did. It also helps that it's way easier to tell which missions are mandatory and which are just filler. Missions that progress the story have a cross inside the emblem, or missions that don't progress the story doesn't have a cross. On the whole, the amount of extra missions you can do during the campaign is very small. This of course will bring discussion to how the levels are. These levels are way more down to earth than the locations of Secret Rings. But I can still say I do think that these are really good stages. Misty Lake is a way more interesting tutorial level than the Lost Prologue and Secret Rings. It even ends in a boss fight against a dragon. Camelot Castle is about boosting through this castle town while also chatting with the locals. Deep Woods is centered around trying to find the Lady of the Lake. As such, the deeper you go, the more traps you get into. The extra missions can also be fun, as they mostly act like companion pieces to the actual stages, and not just a bunch of stupid random chores for you to do. There's also this item system. The blacksmith, who has the appearance as Tails, can equip items to Sonic. Get these items by using identification points earned to identify which items are which. Some of these are used for a crafting system, some of these are used to equip, and some of these are just duds. The equipable items can range from giving you a better chance at getting certain types of items, making you resistant to status effects, or boosting points for the ranking system. I do think it's cool, but not something you have to think about all that much. And while not amazing, I do think the bosses are neat. You can get away by waggling the Wii remote, but to get 5 stars you have to wait for them to attack first and then counter attack after. You also want to be careful because Gawain and Percival have attacks will do only after certain attacks. Like this 5-hit combo Percival will do after doing her Fire Tornado. As you can see, the gameplay portion of this video is way shorter than gameplay portions of previous videos. And that's because this game is like really short. Looking at the time that the game gives you that doesn't count cutscenes, my time for doing free playthroughs for this game only totaling about like 7 hours at most. If you count this as a mainline game, this is easily the shortest mainline game in this series. I honestly don't have a problem with how short this game is because I find the campaign enjoyable, and also makes it easier to record these videos. But I find a game that has a quick but very great campaign is better than a game that just drags on for hours for the sake of it. But what also helps me like this campaign is the fact that besides Sonic Adventure 2, I honestly think this is the best Sonic story ever. This comes down to the fact I think that this game has bar none the best interpretation of Sonic ever. I mean seriously, this game nails it even from the first cutscene. Sonic looks like King Arthur, then he looks like Merlina, and then he looks like a Dark Army, and then he just nonchalantly says,
"Oh, I get it. No problem. I'm used to stuff like this."
Seriously, if that doesn't sell you on Sonic's character in this game, I don't know what would. Sonic is just so effortlessly cool in this game, but also because he can change the way people see things just by being himself. Sonic is very much encouraged by Calibur and King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table to act like how a knight would, but Sonic just rejects it because it's not who he is. Sonic wants to do what he sees as right, and it will leave you to determine what's right for yourself. He doesn't ever bother to explain himself in some long, boring speech because his actions speak louder than words.
If you remove that sword and defeat King Arthur with it, you shall forever be the worst of knights, slayer of kings.
Guess I can't be the hero every time.
His very easygoing personality rubs off on the other characters and changes them for the better. Speaking of one of those characters, Calibur might be the best one-game-only companion for Sonic. I found Char and Chip really great companions for Sonic, but seriously, Sonic and Calibur have the best and funniest interactions in the series.
Fool of a knight, not even worth slaying. You see, he thinks so too.
Well, it's your fault. You're a sad excuse for a teacher.
You shall see for yourself. Onward, my young knave.
Stop calling me Knave. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog.
Very well then, I shall call you Knave the Hedgehog.
Whatever, you oversized letter opener.
My edge has grown blunt. Being in that rock for so long has taken its toll.
Ha! Not the sharpest tool in the shed, huh?
What shall it be? Will you abandon your sword and flee?
Sounds good to me.
Fool! A knight never flees a foe.
May I have your name, apprentice knight?
He is Knave the Hedgehog, and he accepts your challenge.
Hey, wait just a second here.
Like the previous games, characters take the appearance of Sonic characters in this game. Amy is Nemu, Lady of the Lake. She's cool, I guess. As said before, Blacksmith looks like Tails. But what's most interesting, to me at least, is the Knights of the Round Table. Sir Lancelot looks like Shadow, Gawain has the appearance of Knuckles, and Sir Percival looks identical to Blaze. All these guys used to be rivals to Sonic, before becoming allies similar to how we do in this game. Even multiplayer-only characters like Galahad and Lamarck, who look like Silver and Jet respectively, were once rivals. Like Secret Rings, Black Knight uses a picture book like aesthetic for his cutscenes. I think which is better comes down to personal preference. To me, the added detail to make the Secret Rings cutscenes look super old make me really like those more. But Black Knight is still pretty good. But the thing about the cutscenes I really do want to talk about is the voice acting. In my opinion, I don't think another Sonic game has had better voice acting in this game. Everyone did amazing, as you can feel everyone, both English and Japanese, giving it their all. Especially have to give special mention to Jason Griffith. As to me, he is easily the definitive English voice of Sonic to me. He also does a great job as Lancelot. I also think Casey Robertson propels already funny lines to be even funnier. I also like Mamiko Noto as Merlina, and now Takamori as Percival more than the English versions. And of course, I can't move on without talking about the all-star soundtrack this game has. This game has a bunch of composers for this game, particularly Jun Sano and my goat Fumi Kumatani. They have tracks that are more orchestral and atmospheric. They have tracks really go all in on rock. Those, in my opinion, the best tracks in the game. They blend orchestral violins with Jun Sano's signature guitar. Speaking of him, the band Crush 30 comes back with a vengeance in this game, as they make up 5 of the 6 vocal themes this game has. And the one they didn't do, they made a cover of it. Because I have to say, this might have some of the best work yet. Night of the Wind is a great song with a catchy chorus, and Through the Fire is pretty neat too. There are other vocal themes, but we'll get into those later. Now we need to talk about the totally legit final boss. After getting all the weapons of the Knights of the Round Table, Sonic and Caliburn face off against King Arthur. This is where a fight the Knight plays, and oh my god, it's good. This fight is pretty cool too. You have to slow him down by deflecting these red orbs, or if you have a soul gauge, just run up to him. If you heal, you have to do these QTEs, and then you gain the opportunity to hit him. Thing is, you can actually do perfect strikes on him. Well, I can never get the timing down. After that, Sonic surrounds him with the sacred swords and finally strikes him down, thus ending Sonic of the Black Knight. So yeah, we're not perfect. I think Sonic of the Black Knight is a really great game. With all that being said, I'll see you all next time. Yeah, so if you're at all familiar with this game, you know this isn't the end. Merlina reveals that King Arthur was fake, but she wanted Sonic to kill him so that she could get the scabbard of Excalibur to make herself immortal. It's because Knight's Passage, which doesn't show the urgentness as good as it could have been. For one, the time is like 7 minutes, which for characters that canonically move faster than the speed of light is basically nothing. Plus there's all these slow moving boat sections of citizens. But I still do think it's a good level though. After the level, Sonic and the Round Table team up by suggestion of Nemu. The plan is to use the Sacred Swords to form a barrier around the castle. This also means Lancelot, Gawain, and Percival are playable. Over the course of this series, the playable characters have been a point of contention for their fanbase. Well, I do agree with one thing though. Most of the time they should play somewhat similarly to Sonic, but they have their own twist. I do dig most of the alternate gameplay styles we've gotten, but I have to agree that the model used in the classic games should probably be the go-to, which is what they do here. All can of course swing their sword, have some variation of the air dash, and can use the Soul Surge. But all of them are really more different than you think they would be. As expected, Lancelot plays the most like Sonic. Lancelot can do the buzzsaw homing attack, has the same air dash, the same wall climbing animation, and has the same boat ride animation. What he differs is his Soul Surge. He uses Chaos Control to teleport to each enemy to slash at them, until you get his ultimate weapon, where he basically just uses Chaos Blast to destroy enemies. He's also based off a Knight style. Percival fights in a completely different way, as she quickly zips back and forth between enemies. He does a double jump before air dashing, runs on walls opposed to climbing on them, and can't switch sides when riding on the boat. Her Soul Surge is a flame tornado. When she has her ultimate weapon, her tornadoes are stronger and faster. If only Gawain glides and climbs walls, similar to how Knuckles does. His Soul Surge is him throwing his weapons. When he has his ultimate weapon, when they boomerang back to him, it has the possibility of hitting stuff on his way back. I say that I really enjoy playing Lancelot and Percival, so much so that I think that they're tied, and Gawain is definitely last place. Not that he's bad, but compared to using Chaos Blast and mowing everything down with a Flame Tornado, just throwing your weapons isn't really that cool. But remember, I said something about their ultimate weapons. When they start, they aren't anywhere near as capable, because you need to use the crafting system for them. Problem is, they include this in like the last 30 minutes of the game, thus doesn't really have the time to be explored. There's also the problem for the style system, and using their default weapons are really not great. Of course, you can just use Sonic for all 4 of these levels if you really want to, so that's good. But before we head to the end of the game, I wanted to talk about some of the extra content this game has. When you beat the round table, you can get the medals of Lancelot, Gawain, and Percival. You can get the medal of Sonic from being King Arthur. They play themes relating to the characters. Unknown from Emmy for Gawain, All Hail Shadow for Lancelot, and Villanova for Percival. Sonic's Isn't It Doesn't Matter, which actually plays in this game, is one I'm made of, which works I guess, but it's an odd choice. There's also a gallery that has a soundtrack and cutscenes, but it also has results from an art contest and voice clips. There's a bunch of new missions that open up once you finish the game. There's missions where you have to kill a bunch of enemies in a time limit, time gate missions where you have limited surge strikes, etc. But there are 2 that catches my attention, one of which is the return of Lancelot. It's basically a super boss that tests the skills you learn up to that point. He'll use a bunch of new moves like Chaos Blast and this dope Chaos Spear move, but if you realize you can hit him as he's backflipping and look out for Chaos Blast, you should be good. I really do wish we could get on bosses for the other knights. Heck, maybe you can even throw in a Galahad and a little Mark boss. The other ones that catch my attention are the Legacy missions. These missions are pretty much designed like traditional Sonic games, with actual rings and boost pads and stuff. But to my surprise, in some of these Legacy stages you can find the secret rings. And man, I have the whitest, dumbest smile on my face when I found this out. What you get for collecting all of them is a Crush 40 remix of 7 Rings in Hand. While not as good as the original, this remix still slaps. After the barrier is firm, Sonic rushes to Mileena to try to finish this. But before that, he asks for her motivation. Mileena's motivation is that the kingdom is about to come to ruin. She wants the kingdom to be eternal and is using the scabbard to do that. Sonic does try to slash at her, but with her having the scabbard of Excalibur, she's way more powerful than him. So powerful, even Caliburn is destroyed trying to block an attack from her. Even with Caliburn destroyed, even with the Knights of the Round Table telling him to flee, even with Mileena currently being way more powerful than him, he still refuses to run away.
It was never about chivalry for me. I just gotta do what I've gotta do. That's all!
Sonic showing his determination, and the Round Table lending their swords, turned Caliburn into Excalibur, and Sonic gets his neat set of armor. There's a lot more context in this fight against Mileena given by the characters.
Your selfishness is going to be the end of it all. Do you not understand?
Nah, it's not gonna end. My stories only end when I stop running.
No, it will not be an end, but rather a beginning to a new story.
It seems what Mileena is trying to do is put the kingdom in a frozen state. Sure, no one dies, but no one is born either. And using black magic to extend the life of the kingdom puts the residents in danger. While Mileena's case on paper is good, but when she's trying to achieve her goal, not so much. I think Caliburn puts it best.
Foolish wizard, you're willing to sacrifice countless others just to escape your own sorrow.
The actual boss is pretty cool. Kind of disappointingly easy, but I do think this boss is fun enough to the point it doesn't matter to me. When you fill up the soul gauge from countering her attacks, you get to hit her. Time it just right and you do a perfect hit just like with King Arthur. And hey, I actually got the timing for this. And of course, there's what's in my opinion the best vocal theme in the game, With Me. Other than that, Sonic teaches her, well, life might not be eternal. That is pretty much why you have to live it the best way you can. I think it's pretty funny that, like, 3 lines from Sonic is way more remembered than Sonic getting crowned King Arthur, but I think it's a great way to cap off a story, and also to cap off the themes of this game. So yeah, Sonic the Black Knight is a game that I love. And while it isn't quite as much as I think this game deserves, I'm happy this game has its own following. I just feel like it just truly gets everything I like about Sonic games. And also, I'm happy that I got to make more Sonic videos that I can see myself being proud of, even in a year from now. With that said, I'll see you all next time.
So yeah, that's what happened. To think I was called in to be part of the tale of King Arthur. But I gotta tell you, it was no picnic.
Aren't you forgetting something?
What? All the action? All the excitement down to the wire? But man, would have thought I was the real King Arthur. Huh.
That's the lamest excuse ever! You just forgot about our date!
No, it's true, I tell ya! Yikes! No, Amy, wait! Put down that hammer!
Hey! You get